Oh viewers, gone and done it again. Got distracted whilst doing other reviews and had to have a go in this. This is why we have contingency reviews. It's a 2015 Honda HR-V 1.5 SE and it's rather nice. So this is a very early Mark II HR-V, which was launched in our country anyway in 2015. The Mark II was discontinued in 2020 and there's now a new model of this out. It's literally just come out in the last few months. This is a 1.5 normally aspirated petrol engine generating 130 horsepower. There was also towards the end of production of the Mark II HR-V in our market anyway. There are lots of other engines available elsewhere in the world, but we're not talking about those today. In the sport version, which came out in 2019, there was a 1.5 turbo version of this engine which generated 182 horsepower. The majority though of these cars were powered by the forbidden fuel engine, and as usual, due to controversial government legislation and many other factors, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. I do apologise viewers if there's wind noise and if generally the driving section was a bit poor in terms of the sound. I forgot my separate microphone for this trip, so we're just going to have to do this with a no budget review style microphone. I don't really know an awful lot about these cars actually. I saw that Simon had one of these, and so whilst I was here for the launch event of the MG5 EV, which is just down the road from here actually tomorrow as I'm recording this, although you'll probably see that first, I was privileged to be able to review a Volkswagen Tiguan for sensible second-hand reviews, which does fit into that category, but this doesn't really, because they're so new, and this car's worth well over £10,000, so definitely Twin Jacket reviews sort of territory, but we don't have any budget to film those at the moment, so contingency reviews it is. This is quite a striking car. I actually think it's quite handsome. The door handles are sort of hidden, a bit like a Nissan Juke or something like that. Oh, there's that terrible lighting situation again. I'm just pointing that down. You can see the cars have got diamond cut alloy wheels, and they're actually 17 inches in size as well. There's the hidden door handle there, and then this big chrome thing here. Someone's put quite a lot of thought into the design of this car. They're not that common, these, and I kind of do understand why. They were quite expensive when they were new. I think a model like this would have been about £28,000, which is an awful lot of money for the car in this segment. Now, it's somewhere between a Nissan Juke and Qashqai in size, but if we go round to the boot, I believe we have about 470 litres of space in here, so we've got a lot more room than a Qashqai. Qashqai is about 413 or 4 thereabouts, and this is bigger, considerably bigger. Lift up the carpet here, you can see we've got a lot of nothing. I presume that means we've got a tyre inflation kit somewhere. So actually, yes, it must be in there because it's marked as such. But it's huge, really, for the size of this car. The only thing that's bigger than this is a Renault Kadjar from the class up. But 12-volt socket in here. Surprisingly, there's not many hooks in here. There's some sort of tethering points down at the bottom, but no hooks or anything. Just down little lashing points. Just there. Little boot light as well. This car is in absolutely immaculate condition, and it's all been fully prepped for sale by Simon actually, this one, as opposed to a Ticker one, which was not. And yes, parking sensors of course on the front and the back. Little sort of shark fin aerial as well. But if I do get in the back, so I've got plenty of room. I'll have to come from the other side though, because I think actually I'll try the light in here. See if I need to come around the other way. Maybe I don't. Oh, it's adjusted quite nicely. It feels a lot nicer in here than I thought it would. The materials are really nice. Sort of leatherette type stuff here. Soft touch here as well. Not hard touch like a Volkswagen Golf or a Tiguan. Power outlet down there. Plenty of knee room. Plenty of headroom. I mean, I'm not that tall. I'm 5'11", but you know, plenty of room for 2 people, certainly 3. It feels a bit narrow for that, so perhaps not. But got an armrest as well. I don't like seatbelts that dangle like that from above the ceiling, but you know, there we go. And look at the little stubby gear lever. 6-speed manual gearbox. One really weird thing is the car doesn't come with 2 map pockets, it only has 1, which is really mean. But you know, they haven't compromised in other areas. You've got loads of space in here. The speakers are a lot more prominent for some reason in the design than usual. Nice chromed door handles in here. They feel very nice quality. I mean, yes, it's not the top of the range one. It's a mid-spec, this SE version, but it just feels really nice. It feels kind of the way Honda's used to. You know, not the sort of most luxurious, but certainly, you know, built well enough to last. And yeah, I actually quite like this car. I'm surprised. I didn't really know what to think of it when I saw it on someone's website, and you know, this is continued view, so I've not done the most preparation for this, but you know, I quite like it. Let's see if I like the front as well. So, chrome door handle, normal key. Taking into account we've got an econ button here, as well as buttons for things like lane departure warning and traction control and parking sensors and all kind of exciting things. Automatic wipers, automatic lights, Bluetooth, all sorts of lovely things. One really weird thing is when you start this car up, I think it would start if I press the clutch down. There we go. Eco mode is on with a little tree is there, although the fuel is a little bit low. Oh, it's alright, it's not far for me to go back. You're responsible for safe driving of this vehicle. Okay. Wow, that's an interesting thing. Menu. I don't like the fact of this car there's no physical touch buttons on the infotainment system at all. And it's not the most responsive thing. I think I've got to sort of do this to reach most of the screens, which is, I mean, that's all there is. This isn't the Navi model. There is an SE Navi model as well, but there's not much to show. It says aha. Maybe this car was formerly driven by Alan Partridge, I don't know. One thing I can't get the car to display is the mileage. I've looked it up, and it is something ridiculous like 15,000 miles or something like that. There's hardly any mileage. That's why it feels so new, this car. But I just can't get it to display the mileage. I don't know why. We've got this sort of big display here. It looks like, you know, it's sort of set in space, all these needles, and I quite like that. It reminds me of the old sort of penultimate generation Honda Prelude or something like that. And certainly this is a cabin that, you know, there's been a lot of thought put into it, and this gear lever is absolutely lovely. Electronic handbrake, unfortunately, I don't like electronic handbrakes, as most of you probably know, but there's this weird cup holder arrangement here, so we can push that back into there, and then we can divide it up into several bits. And you can push it down to make it bigger. Look at that. And you can use that to sort of push it back into the right place where you want it. And there's more storage in here. I'm running the engine as well to keep the camera cool because it's a very hot day. I think it's something like 29 degrees at the moment. Hang on, this should tell me info. Does that no, it doesn't tell me. How do I don't like this infotainment system, viewers. I don't understand how to work it. And it's nice, it's got these classy touch controls for the heating and ventilation, but they're not as easy to use as normal sort of knobs and buttons would be. I mean, it looks nice. At least that's a conventional thing, the hazard light switch. Not that you'll particularly need that in a Honda, I shouldn't think. Although, annoyingly, unlike a sort of MG or a Sanyong or something like that, you don't get a long warranty. You only get a 3-year warranty with this Honda. Obviously a dealer warranty will come if somebody purchases this from Langley Prestige. See if the secret mission documents go in there. No. Oh, viewers, not impressed. I am impressed though by the quality of material on this door. I'm not going to show it for very long because I should point it down a bit, it will be better, but it feels nice. You know, these mirrors, I can fold the mirrors in like that. Well, I don't like the lighting that accompanies it. Locking buttons here, window switches are there, mirror switches there. It's all very logically laid out and it feels really comfortable. Yes, plenty of adjustments for driving position. It's a lovely little gear lever. I think we'll have a little shot of the insert of that as well. I quite like this car, viewers. I just don't like this infotainment system. Such funny. Is that fake stitching on here? Yes, it is. Weird. Okay, let's have a look under the bonnet. One thing I have just noticed, viewers, is that the fuel release and the bonnet release are the same. They're the same size, and they're they're above each other, like on an MG5 petrol. It's not good, viewers. Don't like it when people do that. So here is the 1.5 i-VTEC engine, developing 130 horsepower. Apparently it's got Earth Dreams technology in it. I don't really know what that means, apart from it's trying to save the environment by doing something. I don't really know. It's actually got a reasonable amount of space to work on in here. It doesn't look that bad. I mean, there's no turbo or anything on this model. But we might even be able to see the gearbox. Oh, there it is, just there. It's very clean under here, of course, but it's only done, you know, virtually no mileage. So, you know, it would be, wouldn't it? And the factory installed long life coolant must be replaced at 120 months. Well, that's useful to know, viewers. There you are. There's an ownership tip if anybody who has an HRV. Excellent. Well, I suppose we better take this car back to Simon, but we'd have a little further conversation on the way. Good old familiar view we had in lots of sensible second-hand reviews right at the start and things like that. So the platform this car is based on is the same as the Mark III Honda Jazz, not the current one, the one before. And the engine's, I think, quite similar as well, actually. It sounds really rorty. It sounds a lot more rorty than most engines do these days, which are these little 3-cylinder units with turbos. And this gearbox is just lovely. It's one of the nicest gearboxes I've actually tried in quite some time in a modern car. The controls are all very light, but the steering has a lot more weight to it. I mean, I have just driven a 2012 Volkswagen Tiguan, and the steering in that was just too light. It just gave no feedback. This is light, but we've got a bit of feedback going on here. It's not loads. I mean, this isn't a Honda S2000 or anything like that, but it's surprisingly fun to drive. It's got about the same amount of power as my SsangYong Tivoli, and it just makes a nicer noise. Now, peak torque doesn't arrive. I think it's 155 Newton meter torque. It doesn't arrive until about 4,600 RPM. So it's not the fastest thing in the world. I think 0 to 60 is about 10.5 seconds, depending on what model you have. There is also a CVT available with 1.5 normally aspirated and 1.5 turbo engines. But you want this 6-speed manual. That's what you want. 6-speed manual, no doubt at all. That's what you need. The trim levels available in one of these Mark II HRVs are S, which I would avoid because it doesn't come with most of the safety stuff that you need. SE, like this, SE Navi. Top of the range initially was EX, but in 2019 the sport model came along with the 1.5 turbo engine, and that sort of superseded it. There was also a black edition, special edition at some point. So yes, you need to step up to this model to get the best of the sort of safety. One thing I'm noticing is if I'm driving economically, the little light round the speedometer comes on green, which is nice. It's nice to know that I'm an economical driver. But then, particularly if you have the sport version, I know that Mr. Ben Quirk from Planet Auto did drive one of the sport versions a little while ago, but you're not going to be wanting to drive economically everywhere. Honda have given this car a surprising amount of character, actually, for one of these. A lot of these are very bland cars, and it's probably not the most exciting car I've ever driven. I mean, you know, the Ford Capri that I drove on these very roads last October, which is also owned by Simon, Langley Prestige, that is hard to beat, but it's not bad. And I can't believe actually how much I like this. I'm really quite surprised. It's the sort of thing, even in some ways, I'd even consider for myself if this infotainment system wasn't quite so, you know, infuriating. But there we go. We can't have everything, can we? So viewers, the Honda HR-V Mark II, is this something that you should consider? Well, I think so. They're quite expensive cars, and they were expensive when they were new, and they seem to be holding their value on the second-hand market too. This one is in amazing condition. Amazing condition. I don't know how Simon found this, but yeah, it's like a new car, really. It's not a mark on it. It's really quite nice to drive in comparison with loads of others of these cars I've tried. It's surprisingly high quality, and there are one or two annoyances such as these, you know, touch things in the middle of here, but overall this is actually a really nice car. It's just a shame Honda didn't sell too many of these, and also they sort of overpriced it, I think, probably. But yes, I do hope you enjoyed this episode of Contingency Reviews. I do apologise for the audio not being the same kind of standard as it usually would be. I just forgot my microphone, and yeah, there's not a lot I can do about it now because I'm about 130 miles from where I live, so that's about it really. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more no-budget reviews, sensible second-hand reviews, sensible second-hand classics, and tweed jacket reviews, as long as all sorts of other things. Thank you again to Simon from Langley Prestige for allowing me to drive this car. That's why the trade plates are in it, by the way. Don't forget to switch on notifications to be informed of new uploads. And thank you ever so much indeed once again.